In the next few minutes, we're going to take a look at how to take advantage of smart objects and the live shape properties in order to work with a number of shapes and yet keep the editing of those shapes as flexible as possible. I want to start by creating a new guide layout from the View menu. I want 3 columns and 3 rows with a gutter of 60 pixels for both of them and a margin of 60 pixels on the top, left, bottom, and right. I'll click OK. And then I'll select my rectangle shape tool. It doesn't matter what the fill is right now. I'm simply going to drag out a rectangle using the guides. We can see in the Properties panel that this is a live shape. I'm actually going to dock the Properties panel again by clicking and dragging it over and placing it underneath the last icon. Then, before I start duplicating this rectangle, I'm going to convert it into a smart object by right-clicking and selecting Convert to Smart Object. Now, I need to make duplicates of this smart object, so for the first one, I'll use Command J, which will duplicate it on the Layers panel. Then I can use my Move tool and move the duplicate over to the right. An easier way to make a duplicate is to hold down the Option key with the Move tool and then click and drag over to the right. Now I want to duplicate all 3 of these rectangles, so on the Layers panel, I'll select them all. Again, hold down the Option key and drag down to duplicate them. And then I'll do the same, holding the Option key and then dragging down. So now I have my 9 rectangles and I want to place them all in a group. I'll select the top rectangle, hold down the Shift key, select the bottom rectangle, and then use the keyboard shortcut Command G in order to place them in the group. I actually want the bamboo photograph to only be displayed in the group, so I'll change the background into a layer by clicking the lock icon and drag layer 0 above group 1 until I just see the horizontal line. If I see the rectangle, it's going to drop it into the group. I'll rename this bamboo, and then I'll clip it by selecting Layer, Create Clipping Mask. We can see I have my transparency on. If I want to change that, we can go to Photoshop, Preferences, Transparency and Gamut, and turn the grid size to none. I'll hide my guides by using Command semicolon, and now I want to round these rectangles. I'll display the contents of the group and then double-click on any of these smart objects in order to edit the contents. I'll use the spacebar in order to move this over, and then I'll show my Properties panel, and then I only want to round one of the corners, so I'll unlink them, and I'll round the upper left-hand corner. I can either enter in a value or click on the icon and move my cursor to the right in order to use the scrubby sliders. I'll make a large change, and then choose File, Save, and then File Close to save the contents of the smart object. And when I do this, we can see that all of the instances of that smart object are updated. So there you have it, a great way to use smart objects with Shape Layer's live shape properties in Photoshop.